All right, at-home learners, we are going to work some more on 3 digits divided by a 1-digit number. And today we're going to end up with some notes in our math notebook. So you'll need to open your math notebook. Go ahead and pause the video while you get your math notebook open. And you'll want to go to the Unit 2 tab and then press the new slide button there. All right. Then unpause the video when you're ready to go. And we are actually going to do a drawing in a program called Paint. So to get to it, you're going to use your mouse to click in the box at the bottom that says type here to search. And we're going to type in the word paint. Now we have a Paint app, and then we have Paint 3D. We want the just regular Paint app is what we're looking for today. Now when I open mine, the white part that you can draw in is called the canvas, and mine is already maximized, I guess is a good word for it. So like the white is taking up all of the space, but if yours is not, it might look something like this. You might need to stretch out your canvas. So you can grab the little tiny triangle, tiny square in the bottom right hand corner and drag it out as large as you would like. One issue we had today, we had some students who, for whatever reason, kept getting their Zoom on, 800% or something like that, and you can't work that way, and it looks really funny. So try to make sure your zoom in percentage stays at 100. Okay, so yesterday you saw me kind of drawing on a white screen. You don't have that program that I was using, but you do have Paint. And so we're going to do the same type of thing today. There's a few things you'll want to check. You want to make sure that on brushes, you're on just a regular paintbrush. You want to make sure on size that you've got the second one picked. You want to make sure your color 1 is black, and you want to make sure your color 2 is white. All right, so there are lots of ways you can do this. You can, if you have an external mouse, you might be able to draw with your mouse. It's pretty hard to draw with your mouse pad. So probably the best option for you is to draw using your finger on the screen unless you have an external mouse. But we want to set it up just like I did yesterday, and I'm going to put a D. My goodness. Okay. When I get too close to the edge, it does that. Sorry about that. I know that's distracting. DMSB were our steps, and so that stands for divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. We want to go ahead and label those. And instead of writing it with my finger, because that would take up quite a bit of room, I'm going to type it in. So this is like a text box on Google Slides, but you just click this little A and it'll put a text box into your drawing. And I'm going to choose the font called Ink Free. You can choose whatever one looks best to your eyes. And I'm just going to go size 14, and I'm going to finish the word divide. I'm going to click again next to the M and put multiply, and then next to the S and put subtract, because we've already got the S, and next to the B and put bring down, so it says bring down all together. And that way, when this goes in our notebook, we won't have to wonder what the D, the M, I misspelled subtract. Can you believe that? All right, so I'm going to use my eraser and come back over here and go over all of that. And then I'm going to grab my letter tool again, or my font tool, and I'm going to put the word subtract instead of subtract. All right, so now when we look at it in our notebook, we'll know what the steps mean: divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. Okay, we need a problem to solve. And so in class, we had a student give us a 3-digit number, and they came up with 385. So I'm actually going to click on brushes, and I'm going to use my finger, and I'm going to draw 385. And I'm going to put it underneath the division symbol, which I call the house. I don't know, a few years ago the kids called it that, and it just kind of stuck with me. And we're going to divide by 7. So that's our divisor. So we need to make a tic-tac-toe chart for the number 7, since that is our divisor. So over here, we're going to say 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, and it's okay to, count by 7. So 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. And then from 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49. And then it would be 56 and 63. Okay, we have our tic-tac-toe filled out, and now we're ready to start performing our steps. Now, I want you to be doing this in Paint too. So anytime you need to pause the video, go ahead and pause. If you need to pause now and catch up to where I am, but you are going to be putting all of this into your Paint, and then we'll capture the screen and go put it in your math notebook in a little while. All right, pause if you need to, and then come back. Let's figure out how we're going to divide. We've got 3 100 blocks, 100 flat blocks, and can we put them into 7 groups? Well, we're going to look over at our tic-tac-toe. Is there any number that is not greater than 3? Goodness, my words are escaping me right now. So we're looking for the closest number to 3 without going over, and there is nothing. So we would not have enough hundreds to put them into 7 groups. So we're going to put a big 0 at the top. And instead, we would trade those 3 hundreds in for 30 tens. And we already had 8 tens, so then we'd have 38 tens. So now we're going to look at our 7 tic-tac-toe for the number closest to 38 without going over. And that's going to give us 35. So we're going to put 35 right here because we know we're going to be spreading out 35 of those tens. But if we put 35 10 rods into 7 groups, how many would we have in each group? And the way we find that is figuring out which number on our tic-tac-toe chart was 35. So times 1 was 7, times 2 was 14, times 3 was 21, times 4 was 28, and then times 5 was 35. So this is a 5 that goes here. So we have divided and we have multiplied. All right, our next step is an S for subtract. We're going to do that, and we get 3 because 8 minus 5 is 3, and 3 minus 3 is 0. We don't have to put that there. We have subtracted. Check, check. All right, now we need to bring down. The number we can bring down is a 5, and we're going to start all over because we had something to bring down, so we start the steps again. We're going to look at our tic-tac-toe chart, and this time we're looking for what's closest to 35, and I know it's 35 because that's the number at the bottom now. So what has happened in block world is we have had those leftover 3 tens, but we couldn't put those into 7 groups, so we broke those into 31s, and we already had 5 ones, and that gives us 35 ones. So we're looking to see if we had 35 ones and we're putting them equally in 7 groups, how many could we put in each group? It's going to be 5 again, because the number 35 is on our chart and it is smack dab in the center. So we know that 7 times 5 is 35. So we have divided by putting the 5 up top, multiplied by putting the 35 at the bottom. Next, we are going to, whoops, we didn't put the 35 at the bottom. My bad. All right, now we put the 35 at the bottom. Now we're going to subtract and we get 0. And there's nothing to bring down, so we are done. The last thing we're going to do is indicate that 385 divided by 7 equals 55. Okay, we want to screen capture this so that we can go put it in our math notebook. So here's how we're going to screen capture. We don't need the entire screen. We don't need to see where it tells us the brushes and the colors. We just want the part in the middle where we put our DMSB, where we had our standard algorithm, and where we had our tic-tac-toe, all of that good stuff. So using your left hand, hold down Shift and Windows on your keyboard, and then press the letter S with your right hand. Now we've got to draw a rectangle around the area we want to capture. So make sure you get everything. If you don't quite get everything, or if you get too much, you can always do it again. That was Windows and Shift, and then press S and let go. All right, let's hop back over to our math notebook, to that slide that we created, and we're going to give it a title that is division using the standard algorithm, or as your parents would know it, long division. All right, I don't need this box here. I'm going to delete that box because I'm going to be putting in my picture. And you know me, I'm not a fan of that font. So we're going to go to Shadows and Delight for me because that's my favorite. You choose whatever one you like best. Can make it a little bigger. Going to give it a blue background. All right. So now I'm going to click somewhere on my slide and then I'm going to hit Control V on my keyboard. And that's going to paste whatever I copied in my screen capture. It's going to paste it into my slide for me. I actually want another slide like this. So I am going to make sure I'm clicked on the right slide over here on the left. And I'm going to I'm going to hold down Control and press C. That just copied that whole slide into my computer's memory. And now if I hold down Control and press V like violin, it's going to paste it. So now I've got two that are the same. I'm going to make sure I'm on number 7, the bottom one. I'm going to delete this picture, but we're going to go do another one because I want you to have 2 different examples in your notebook. All right, let's go back over to Paint. And there's 2 things I can do here. I'm going to use my eraser, and I'm going to erase all these check marks. All right. Will it let me do it this way? Yes, it will, with my fingers a little faster. Oh, maybe not. All right. Okay, for this big area over here, here's actually what I'm going to do. I'm going to click on the rectangle, and I'm going to change the color 1 to white. And I'm going to draw a big rectangle over all of the area that I want to fill in. And then I'm going to say fill solid color, and it just puts a big white box over everything. And it's like I kind of reset. Okay, now I'm going to click on brushes again because I want to go back to drawing like we were before. This time our problem is, whoops, I need to make sure I change my color to black. My number is 756. Again, a student chose this number, and we're going to divide by 4. I chose a divisor just to make sure we didn't have a remainder. All right, so our tic-tac-toe, hopefully you figured out this time, needs to be for the number 4. We have 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, and 36. All right. We are ready to start rocking and rolling. We're going to look at our multiplication chart, our tic-tac-toe chart, sorry, and we're going to see what's closest to 7 without going over. To me, that looks like 4, okay? So we're going to put 4 down here and a 1 up here because how 4 ends up on our tic-tac-toe chart by 4 times 1, okay? So we've divided, we've multiplied, and we're about to subtract and get 3. We're going to bring down the 5. Check that off over here. And since we had something to bring down, we started all over again. All right, this time I'm looking for 35. So I'm going to look at my chart. What's closest to 35 without going over? It's 32. And I know that to get 32, I have to multiply 4 times 8. And I can tell because that's in the 8th spot on my tic-tac-toe chart. The first row is 1, 2, 3. Second row is 4, 5, 6, and then 7, 8. All right, so I put an 8 here. I have divided. I have multiplied. All right, I'm going to subtract. I get 3 again. Bring down the 6. I have subtracted. I have brought down. Since I had something to bring down, I started all again. This time I'm looking for 36. What's closest to 36 without going over? Well, it's 36. And to get 36, I have to multiply 4 times 9. I can tell by where it is on my tic-tac-toe. All right, so I've divided, I have multiplied, I'm going to subtract to get 0. There's nothing to bring down, so I am done. And over here, I'm going to record 756 divided by 4. 756 divided by 4 equals 189. That's a terrible 9, Miss Moore. All right, let's see if we can fix that. I don't know if it's going to let me. So let me just use my eraser and make it bigger. There we go. Let's try to get a decent 9 in there, Ms. Moore. All right, going back to my brush and put a 9. Okay, we want a screenshot again, so hold down Windows and Shift, press the S key, and it kind of gets foggy or grayed out, or however you want to think about that, faded, we're going to capture what we need. Okay, it's in our computer's memory. I'm going to press Alt and Tab to go over to my math notebook. And once I'm here, I'm going to click somewhere on the side and Control V. And now we have two examples of long division, or division using the standard algorithm, in our notebook. All right, so you should have these 2 pages in your math notebook now. And if you go back to the at-home learning for today, there are 3 problems at the bottom that I want you to solve. All right, thanks so much for watching.